Palworld. We all know it. You've probably been arguing about it. Let's talk about it. There are a lot of accusations and lots of drama around Palworld right now. And being someone who has been excited about this game and has bought it and played it so far, obviously I feel the need to speak about it because I don't want to be on the wrong side of history, as probably many others do. So, if you have not heard about the recent controversy surrounding this game, Palworld is a game, it's a survival game similar to games like Ark, Rust, whatever, building your city up and getting more materials, stuff like that. To become the strongest person in the world, in the video game world, right? Just to progress and get stronger. That is what the game is, the gameplay is about, right? And the game is about. With a twist, you can catch and tame monsters, again, similar to Ark and taming their dinosaurs, but this functionality is very similar to Pokemon, and a lot of the designs are similar to the Pokemon as well. And as we all know, Pokemon fans, it's one of the strongest fandoms in the world out there that will defend it. Even when they don't like the game, they will defend it. And has been happening. Now, I don't want to paint this, I don't want to be biased, right? I'm going to try to present all the arguments, all the cases for and against the game in an unbiased manner. So I'm not trying to paint Pokemon fans as these evil, though a lot of them have been taking things very far, as to even sending death threats to the developers as of recently. There's been lots of developments on this in the past couple days. So let's get into it. We're going to take it step by step. First and foremost, when the game released, even when it was announced, people have been comparing it to Pokemon. And yes, a lot of the designs are similar to Pokemon. I don't think anybody's going to argue against that. Here, okay. So lots of people on Twitter have been comparing the designs. And yes, as anyone will admit, I think, the designs are very, very similar, obviously. I won't go through all the entire list. People have made entire lists comparing them. I don't have that saved, but I won't even go through it. But we'll just take a look at a couple here, right? This one, people comparing it to Cinderace. Yes, bipedal, tall, energetic, athletic-looking bunny-type creature. Looks like Cinderace. People are comparing this one to Meganium, I think, because of the flower on its head. Some of these are a bit stretches, in my opinion. People comparing this one to Zoroark, right? Same theming, same color pattern, right? And yes, these are valid. Obviously, this one is the biggest one that was compared even when it was announced 3 years ago to Luxray. I think everyone will admit, yes, they are similar. Obviously, lots of the developer used to work at Nintendo. The game is inspired by Nintendo. I don't think it was ever claimed that, but I think anybody can see that, right? Further developments have been made comparing the, the design, the modeling to Pokemon as well. And some of these, this is Primarina's hair on another pal. I don't know the pal name. I haven't gotten that far. I don't know them. Comparing the models, 3D models used in the game, saying that it has been ripped straight from Pokemon. Videos like this, wolf Pokemon compared with a wolf pal in the game, right? Yes, they are it seems very similar. Maybe even stolen. I don't know if anything can be concretely claimed, but obviously I won't sit here and be like, oh, it needs concrete evidence. This is pretty. I was watching this one earlier. Again, I think this one may be a little bit of a stretch. The mouth looks a little different, is similar, but again, I'm not saying that there's no comparison to them. Obviously, anyone can see, yes, there's a lot. Were they ripped straight from Pokemon? Who knows? Obviously, the dev team, I doubt, will ever come forward saying that. People could probably prove it to an extent. But again, now, obviously, that is bad. Bad. Well, I don't know how to word. I am not in the industry. It is not okay, I guess, right? It's people claim plagiarism. And yeah, I guess this has a case. Will Nintendo act on this? We do not know. But now I will pose this question, is that I have been alive. I've been a Pokemon fan ever since I was 4 years old, back in the early 2000s. There are lots of games similar to Pokemon. Digimon, one of the first ones. People comparing Digimon designs to Pokemon designs. Ripping them off, maybe. Wow, look how similar these are. That's pretty, you know. The crab looks like a crab. Here, yeah, we'll just look. Oh my gosh, it looks kind of like Ninetales. One can make that argument. Yokai Watch, another game that released, like 2014, maybe 2015, maybe 2013. A game very similar to Pokemon gameplay-wise as well. Catch a bunch of Pokemon to battle things and get them stronger, right? People have made comparisons to this, right? You can compare lots of monster games to monster games, right? The reason I bring this up is that this is an argument for Pokemon-like games that have been made for years now, years and years. The argument against those ones is the art style being completely different, right? And again, I think anyone would agree, yeah, the Palworld designs look very similar in art style to Pokemon designs. Were they ripped straight off? Maybe. It's looking more likely, I guess. How bad is that? I don't really know on a legal standpoint, you know? But again, this has been made about a lot of Nintendo games. It's been made about games across the board for long times now. People comparing this to when Genshin Impact released, and people comparing Genshin Impact to Breath of the Wild. I even played Genshin Impact, and I did that too, right? This comparison has been made across so many games. Dark Souls games, one of the biggest ones that this comparison has been made about. The Souls-like genre, right? Lies of P, great game, haven't played it yet. Fantastic thing, obviously inspired, very similar to Bloodborne. Neo was one of the first big non-From Software games to be released. That was a Souls-like. Similar to Sekiro, similar to Dark Souls, right? Would people claim that this is plagiarism? Right? There was not much of an uproar for things like that. It is very nuanced, the argument of copying. Admittedly, obviously, Palworld, very similar designs. Again, potentially using very similar, if not the same, modeling as Pokemon, right? I don't think anybody will deny that. One of the biggest accusations and hatred of this game, though, and players of it, is that the game has used AI. Now let's go over why people say this. The CEO of Palworld, of Pocket Pal, I forget exactly what the name of the company is, but CEO, director of the game, has made tweets in the past expressing interest and intrigue of AI generated fake Pokemon that aren't real, things that look like Pokemon, right? This is one of the biggest supporting evidences that they used AI. Admittedly, yeah, it's a little weird to be talking about that, but people have also found out that apparently, again, I've not seen the original tweets, but that the retweets and the posts about the AI for Pokemon were commenting about the use of someone at BuzzFeed, I guess, making the fake mon with AI, and he was like, this is weird, this is interesting, I can't even tell the difference, I guess. So I guess he didn't post saying that he used it, but that he was like, oh, that's weird, I can't even tell the difference. Again, a little weird to be doing that. Another thing is that the developers have another game that has AI usage in it. It's an art game, and I don't know, from what I've gathered, from what I've heard about it, it's like an Among Us art game where everybody draws and then they have to guess the AI one, or you just have to guess the AI art in general, I guess. So they have used AI in the previous game as a function of a game, right? So those are the biggest things to support that Palworld has used AI. Again, they don't really claim what they have used AI for, whether it be 3D modeling or just the designs in general. When I hear people accuse them of using AI, I think they are most likely accusing them of using AI to create different designs that are like spin-offs of Pokemon. That's what I assume people mean when they like say that they used AI. To give a different side of this, Palworld was announced. This announcement trailer was released 2 years ago, June 5th, 2021. A lot of the models were already in it, I guess, right? Now, people say that they could not have used AI for 3D modeling because at this point, generative AI was not at the point that it is now. Again, I don't think there's a way to prove that or disprove that. I would probably assume AI was being used a little bit before it became public to the people, to the masses. But again, I guess there's like some semblance of like reasoning there, right? And again, I think the announcement trailer, end date, and when it was announced, it gives a little bit of background too. This isn't a game that was just put together like in a couple months, in a couple years, or like in 1 year, right? It's been at least 3 years of development. The game isn't even fully complete. This is an early access game. Maybe they'll keep updating it. Maybe this was a cash grab and they're just gonna drop it and let it go to the wind. I would hope not. I think it would give it more respect or give more credence to it not being a Pokemon ripoff steal type game if they continue to update it. It's not a game that just came out, that was announced like last year and came out immediately, right? But there's lots of, that's the biggest problem with all of this. Lots of the argumentation about it for and against is lots of speculation. Nothing can be proven or disproven. And that's why this is like such a weird thing to argue about, because everyone's just saying these things as fact. Again, both for that they didn't use it or that they did use it as fact, when none of it is proven either way. It's not proven that they didn't, right? So it's very nuanced. It's very hard to like argue about this. This article is a blog post from the developers. I don't know exactly when. Again, found on Twitter. Take everything with a grain of salt. This is all Twitter stuff. Nothing is proven or disproven. But again, to give maybe discredit arguments of using AI. This part of the article says, we created, or I created, but I'll say we created because I imagine it was a team. We created over 100 monsters. There was no one in the company with motion experience. This may not make sense to someone who has 3D game development experience and is knowledgeable about game motion. In fact, I had no idea what was difficult until I started making it. Because I didn't know, I casually started making a monster collection game as a 3D action game. Realized after I started making it, wait, it takes months just to create one model. I've never made a proper 3D model in the company until now. In Craftopia is another game that is a very blatant, similar Breath of the Wild type game. Anyways, well, we won't talk about that in this episode. And to make the 3D models move, motion is necessary, since Craftopia, blah, blah, blah. In addition, however, there are over 100 monsters in Palworld. What's even more terrifying is that the skeletal structure of each monster is different. This article is about the dev talking about the development of the 100 creatures and how they hired someone to help them model them and use rigs and get the animations down. Right? Again, not sure if people are claiming they used AI to create the 3D models. People don't really make a clear stance on what they used AI for. There's no voice acting in the game. They would not have used AI for the voice acting. There is like dialogue and stories, I guess. Maybe they used AI to write. Right? These claims of AI are not really targeted. It's just a blanket, oh, they used AI, because the developer, the CEO, has showed interest in it, which is, again, admittedly weird and off-putting, and worrisome. But there are no substantial proof of actual AI use. And again, if they did create all these models, right, 3 years of development, and they went through and created them individually, probably would not have used AI for this 3 models if it took them that long, right? Unless they created them and then took a couple of years off to make it seem like they were, right? I guess. All of these arguments are he say, she say, no proof. It's so hard to argue this, and why am I even making a video about it? Because I want clicks and I want views, and surely I'll get some. Anyways, what I imagine people are mostly claiming AI usage for is probably tweaking Pokemon design to fit Palworld designs. And again, as someone, I don't really have any skin in the game. I mean, I kind of do. I don't want to be an asshole who supported a bad company since I bought the game and I've been playing it. But yeah, maybe they did that. But it's hard to make that claim because, again, as we've seen, lots of games can take inspiration from games, and they don't necessarily have to use AI to make a similar character. Let's talk about Valorant. Valorant is a game that has many characters similar to Overwatch. The biggest one being Omen and Reaper, right? Same archetype, same abilities. Brimstone and Soldier 76, both old soldiers, right? There's clear similarities between the two. Would I say they used AI to type in an AI thing to tweak it a little bit? No. But maybe they could have. And that's the argument that people make and say is fact, right? Which, again, at the end of the day, it's all a maybe. What I think also is likely that could have happened is simply they saw Pokemon designs and they came up in their own brain, these developers or designers or whoever, these slightly tweaked designs. They don't necessarily would have to. It's not hard. It would not be hard to slightly tweak these things, right? Come up with an idea, put a little spin on it. You don't really need AI for that. Sure, maybe they could have used AI for that, but you don't need to. So, again, I understand the worry for AI. If they did, obviously they would never come out and claim that they did. Apparently Steam now makes publishers disclose if they used AI in making their game. I've not looked, but I don't think the Palworld thing, from what I've seen from other people, I don't think the Palworld thing has disclosed that, right? They could lie about that and just not have disclosed. They could have and just been like, no, we didn't, ha ha ha. That could lend credence to them not using it. You could always make the argument that they're hiding things, right? All of these but that's the point of this video, is that all of these arguments and all of these claims stated as fact are not fact. Are they likely? Sure. Maybe. Are they unlikely? Sure. Maybe. I have recently found out, I didn't even know this, that Pokemon Company themselves have maybe, again, I can't make any strong claims, have maybe used AI themselves. Apparently, there was a Pokemon Go artwork that could potentially be AI. I think what people argue that this image could maybe be AI about, right? The things that they claim are the text, right? Usually in AI imagery, text is a little bit wonky, right? Like on the sign on the right, right? That doesn't look like any real, like, text, even like fake Pokemon language, right? On the left looks a little bit more, right? This red sign looks like just scribbles. I believe this claim is like it looks like a subway car or half a car that doesn't really look like anything, right? Not going into anywhere. Here, this article. Further inspection reveals some strange artistic decisions that has fans suspecting it might be AI, such as blurred line art and the fact that the environment itself lacks any sort of cohesion, as if it was made without any sort of planning. I'm not an artist. I don't really know what any of that means. But people have accused Pokemon, further Niantic, the developers of Pokemon Go, right? And apparently, their statement, they did not deny this. They just said, Niantic uses a variety of tools and software to create visual assets. We do not disclose specifics around our processes. One can argue that this sounds, pretty scapegoaty. Yeah. Their argument doesn't isn't saying that they didn't use it, so maybe they did use it, right? Like, I didn't even know about this claim. And the reason why I bring this up is because it's funny if Pokemon fans and all these other people are upset about the game potentially using AI to tweak designs. I assume that's what they argue. When Pokemon Go has done the same thing, I guess people were kind of upset about this, but not to the extent of Palworld, right? And this is blatantly, if it is AI, if Pokemon did use AI, right? And they're not paying an artist for that, right? I never saw the uproar about this. Another important thing, I think, to mention, the game is nothing like Pokemon. The game plays like Ark, right? You can sit here and compare. This is how I describe the game to my friends. It is like Pokemon capturing with Ark, city building, and stuff like that. We are in a state of gaming where you can compare any game to any other game, right? Valorant, as I used earlier. It's like Overwatch mixed with CSGO. Dark Souls games. Oh, yes. This game is like a Souls-like, literally Souls-like is in the description for some of these games. Oh, yes. It's a Souls-like game. This game's very similar, right? And I don't think anybody... You can take inspiration from a game and make it very similar without it having to be plagiarism or AI ripoffs. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I hope I provided good arguments for both sides and a better understanding of the situation as a whole. Ultimately, my perspective, my opinion is yes, developments will continue. People will dig into this game further. If AI was used, if they blatantly copied, stole stuff from Pokemon games, kind of shitty, not a good thing to do. Especially AI. AI, very shitty, right? Taking some polygons from Pokemon games, obviously bad too. I don't know the extent of the bad. I'm not a game developer, right? And if they were to do that, I would imagine Nintendo would probably step in, as Nintendo does with fan games, the smallest things in the world, right? If Nintendo really had this on their radar and was really worried about it and really thought that it was plagiarism, they would step in. So, let me know in the comments down below what you think, any other opinions, any more information that I should have. If any more information comes out in this game, is the worst thing in the world and it gets canceled, I'll take down this video and make another video explaining that, right? But right now, personally, I get the concern from people. Can anything be proven? No. Can anything be disproven? Not really either. Yes, there's cases that help both sides, right? And at the end of the day, people are gonna have their own opinions and believe one thing more than the other, right? But ultimately, I don't think it is good, and I hope that I prevent people from making these absolute statements that, these people are evil individuals, and people playing this game are evil individuals, and the developers deserve to die. Can I say that on YouTube? I don't know, I guess I'll find out. Right, as people are saying, because they're sending death threats, right? I get the concern. people maybe need to chill out a little bit more, wait for things, have a more healthy discussion about it. I think that would be better for the community, better for gaming as a whole. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. Leave a like, thank you, subscribe if you watched all the way through, and again, leave any comments, any thoughts. I'll be down there interacting. So, thank you, bye.